everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Astrology podcast. My name is Jessie James, and I am your host today. Today, I'm doing an episode that is called Teenage Dream to PR Nightmare, an astrological analysis of Katy Perry. But the subtitle could be, Why is Katy Perry such an asshole? An astrological analysis. I just didn't think that would get me as many clicks on social media, but that basically is what I'm talking about. However, before we get into it, let's talk about Coachella. Let's specifically talk, obviously, about Lady Gaga. Hello, no one is doing it like her. Greatest of all time. Absolutely. I cried 6 times during her performance. My feet hurt. My back hurt. I was dehydrated. I was not in good shape. Things weren't going well for me. However, I would have stood there and watched her until 6 a.m. For Lady Gaga, for that performance, my jaw was on the floor the entire time. Never once did my facial expression change from, it was something else. Because of Lady Gaga being phenomenal and putting on the best Coachella show of all time, but also because for my Gaylors, like, it was just very, very Taylor Swift coded. And honestly, a lot of people probably think that I'm fucking crazy. They're like, Lady Gaga has nothing to do with Taylor Swift, but what if I told you that she did? Specifically, I want to call out this bodysuit that she wears during her performance of Killa, which is like 1-for-1 the Reputation bodysuit from the Eras tour. And then she puts on this like fringed jacket that is the jacket from Karma from the Midnight set. And then she struts down and she has this like blonde wig with bangs. Like, it is so Taylor Swift coded. And so I was freaking out about this. And then someone pointed out to me that the top left when you're looking at her corner of her bodysuit has a black dog on it. And it's the same silhouette of the black dog from the Fortnite music video. And Taylor's album, The Torture Poets Department, the first song on the anthology is called The Black Dog. What does it mean? And so for those uninitiated, me and many other people on the internet do think that there's sort of like a mass coming out in the works, like a mass movement theory, because there are so many closeted musicians and actors and NFL players and other personalities. And they think that if they come out all at once, they'll be able to change something in the industry. Like, one person coming out, you know, they can get swept under the rug. But if so many people in the industry come out all at once, especially in times like these when like being gay is being made illegal again, they could really change something. So I'm very excited about that. Also, How Do You Want Me, the song that everyone and their mother is saying like sounds like Taylor Swift, had all these rainbow lights on it, and Lady Gaga was wearing this like ram headpiece that looks exactly like the headpiece that Taylor wears in the Karma music video. And this whole like dueling twins monologue, it's so dual Taylor theory. It's so the idea that Taylor Swift has a persona, Taylor Swift the brand, TM, who she presents to the world, but inside of her is another Taylor, a different version of herself. Taylor Swift, the queer poet. One can't live while the other survives. It's also giving like Harry Potter in a way. I don't know. She's connecting it to everything. It's a little crazy. I wish I could read her text messages, but I can't, so we'll just figure it out in the coming months, hopefully. Hopefully it's only months, but I can wait years. I'll wait years if I have to. I'm patient. Sort of. What else is going on? I'm getting my IUD out today. That's really exciting. It's like the one vestige of my body that's like a reference to the fact that I used to sleep with men. And I don't want it. I don't want it anymore. I don't want it in there. And so I'm getting it out of there. And when I was driving to Coachella, I was driving behind like a billion different Teslas. And that logo really looks like a fucking IUD, guys. Like, is everyone aware of this? The Tesla logo is an IUD. How did that even happen? Like, Elon Musk doesn't know what an IUD looks like. Another case of no woman was in the room. And with that, we'll move on to Katy Perry. So Katy Perry has been in the news lately because last Monday, April 14th, she and 5 other women boarded a rocket ship. They boarded Jeff Bezos's Blue Origin rocket, and they went up to like the threshold of space. They went up like 65 miles. They didn't go into outer space. And it was the first all-female crew of astronauts to ever go up into space. That is more than one astronaut. There has been an all-female crew of one female astronaut that has gone up before. This was the largest. And the astronauts on this spacecraft included Jeff Bezos' fiance, Lauren Sanchez, Gayle King, Oprah's best friend, one, Katy Perry, Carrie Ann Flynn, apparently like a socialite, does film stuff. And then we have Amanda Wynn, who's a woman in STEM who actually does like rocket science stuff and is an advocate for sexual abuse victims, and Aisha Bowe, a Black woman in STEM who's won a bunch of awards for being, you know, the best Black woman in STEM at different times, and also does like NASA and rocket science stuff. So two like really legit women. I genuinely don't know Carrie Ann Flynn's relationship to space. And then there's Katy Perry, and Jeff Bezos's fiance. I don't even want to go there. She can eat my toe. And so everyone for weeks was like, Katy Perry's going into space. Oh my God, this is so weird. Like, why is she going into space? And then on last Monday, I was driving home from Coachella, and like suddenly she's back, and suddenly she's kissing the ground. And I'm like, I thought you were going for like a week. Like, what do you mean you were there for like an hour? But yeah, that was it. And it was so anticlimactic. Like, I was really hoping that she was going to have like a William Shatner moment where like she was forever changed. Like my friend Sophie was like, maybe she's going to lose a leg. I didn't think she was going to die, but I thought she was going to spend more than 10 minutes in space. And all she did the whole time was look into the camera and announce the Lifetime's tour set list. I was just like, what is even happening here? And so I thought that today we would take a look at the long and storied history of Katy Perry being an asshole and a PR disaster, and look at her astrology chart and try to explain some of why that is. And oh boy, does it explain some of why that is. She has one of the craziest birth charts I've ever seen. I have talked about Katy Perry on here before in my Kesha episode, just very briefly because of Katy Perry's relationship with Dr. Luke and Kesha's court case against Dr. Luke. Kesha alleges that Dr. Luke also sexually assaulted Katy Perry. Katy Perry denies it. Who can know what the truth is? But I think that Katy Perry has some really fucked up and repressed like views on sexuality and on women. So it's not surprising to me that even if she was assaulted by Dr. Luke, she would say that she wasn't, and then she would work with him again. But who can know what actually happened there? That's between Katy Perry, Kesha, Dr. Luke, and God. So if you want like a quick introduction, you can go look at that episode. Also, great episode. If you love Kesha, you should definitely check it out. However, I will be going over all of Katy Perry's birth chart in this episode. Also, this cutie little shirt, I'm very much giving Sabrina Carpenter. It's from For Lover Lemons. It is fake crocheted. You can tell, in case you didn't know, machines can't crochet. It's one of those things that can only be done by hand. And so I am taking notes so that I can replicate it. I rented this from Fashion Pass. Okay, I already knew about a few of these Katy Perry scandals. And then I was like looking up in case there are others. And I found a bunch of lists that are like Katy Perry's 20 biggest scandals. And if you ever find a list like that with my name on it, you won't be able to find me anymore. Like I will be somewhere else. I will definitely not be on Jeff Bezos's rocket going into space. But I digress. We kick things off in June 2009. Absolutely unhinged. Katy Perry launched a lawsuit against an Australian woman who uses her birth name, the Australian woman's birth name, which is Katy Perry, Katie Perry, as the name of her fashion brand. So Katy Perry, fashion designer, Katy Perry, born née Catherine Hudson, is now suing because she doesn't want this Australian woman to be able to use her own birth name as her fashion design label name. The court originally finds in favor of Katy Perry, the fashion designer. However, Katy Perry, the singer, appeals the decision. And after a years-long court case, Katy Perry, the singer, wins this court case because she's a millionaire. And Katy Perry, the fashion designer, says that it was a David versus Goliath fight and Goliath won. She said that she was devastated and that she lost everything in the legal battle. And the court's ruling, they said, was because the brand name could deceive and cause confusion, because people might think that they're buying clothes by Katy Perry, the pop star, and not Katy Perry, the fashion designer. Just a little, like, why would you do that? I don't even know. I don't want to know. That was 2009. 2010, Katy Perry tweets at Sky Ferreira, "Is it hard being pregnant at 17? Hope it doesn't look like a monkey. ... Why? Why would anyone tweet that at someone else? The next month, she responds to Sky's complaint about people leaking her album by saying, "Maybe you should stop sleeping with so many DJs. Savage, right?" There are claims that Katy and Sky were friends at the time, and this was friendly fire. However, I would not say this to my friends. Like, that still gives Mean Girl. Also, like, absolutely, I wouldn't say that to anyone. Like, what are you talking about? She was my friend. It was okay. It's never okay to say that to someone. What are you talking about? 2012 to 2013 is when we get into this Taylor Swift feud. So the recorded story of why this feud happens is because apparently Katy is siphoning Taylor Swift's backup dancers from her from the Red Tour. Taylor told Rolling Stone she basically tried to sabotage an entire arena tour. She tried to hire a bunch of people out from under me. I'm not sure about this one. Like, sure, maybe that's true. Maybe that's the story. However, I'll get into this a lot more later, but like, Katy Perry clearly is attracted to women. There have been blinds about her sleeping with women over the years. There have been blinds about her liking to watch her husband, Orlando Bloom, sleep with men. Like, she clearly has some, first of all, is queer, and second of all, has some like fucked up sex stuff going on. Taylor Swift, also a repressed queer woman. Like, maybe there was some like threatening at outing, or she knew something that she shouldn't and they got in a fight over it. Whatever it was, lasted about 5 years. And then another reason I think that it's gay is because she came out in the "You Need to Calm Down" music video, which is like the gayest music video of all time, and they hugged. It seems to have deeper symbolism than just like ending a feud, but who can possibly know? So her and Taylor Swift falling out, song Bad Blood, really great times. Everyone loved it. In August 2013, Katy releases the song Roar, and people accuse her of ripping it off from Sarah Bareilles' song Brave. The songs do sound remarkably similar. Katy denies that this happens and then starts trying to pass it off as just a song that she wrote about loving cats. Katy says in a tweet, "Secretly, I love how when I wrote #roar, I was just trying to write a song about being a mega cat lady. Shh, don't tell anyone." Yeah. Definitely. This is definitely going to prevent people from thinking that you ripped off a song from Sarah Bareilles. Great job, Katy. In November 2013, these are just one after the other. She cannot catch a break. And of her own doing, by the way. She can't catch a break, but she won't stop doing the things that make her not catch a break. Like, these are all the consequences of her own actions. In November 2013, Katy dresses as a geisha to perform unconditionally at the AMAs. Why would she do that? I don't know. Her and Ariana Grande can start a club. In March 2014, this is ridiculous. So Katy Perry is performing with Miley at the Bangers tour. Katy leans into her for a kiss, and Katy and Miley kiss on screen at the tour. Katy then goes on an Australian breakfast TV show and says, "I just walked up to her to give her like a friendly, girly kiss, you know, as girls do. And then she like tried to move her head and go deeper, and I pulled away." Like, okay, first of all, girl, you're a little fruity. Like, it's fine. Like, you don't have to be like, oh no, I just wanted to do a little girl kiss, and she pulled in deeper. But the next thing that she says is just like irredeemable. God knows where that tongue has been. Why? Like, why can you never be normal? Like, why do you have to slut shame people? Like, I get it. It's because you were raised in a crazy, strict evangelical household. But work on it. Like, therapy, please. In October 2017, we have another kissing-related scandal. Katy non-consensually kisses 19-year-old American Idol contestant in audition after he says he's never been kissed. When asked afterward how he felt about it, the contestant said, "I was a tad bit uncomfortable. I wanted to save it for my first relationship. I wanted it to be special." Okay. But I mean, your first kiss was with Katy Perry. Isn't that so special? 2018, we get into this whole nun story. For those uninitiated to the nun story, there is a nun in Los Angeles whose dying final words were, "Katy Perry, please stop." And that could also have been the title of this episode. But basically what happens is there's a group of nuns, and they moved into this sprawling 8-acre convent in 1972. They had all pooled their money together. They stay in it until 2011, and then their diocese apparently tells them they have to leave and go to other places. So they try to sell their convent, and the nuns strike a deal to sell it to a woman named Dana Hollister. And Dana Hollister could also be a man. I actually don't know. One Dana Hollister. And Dana Hollister offers $15.5 million with $100,000 in cash. I don't even think that matters. And it's going straight to the nun. So they accept the deal. Hollister moves in. That's fine. The archdiocese then says that the nuns have no right to sell the property. And so the archdiocese is selling the property to Katy Perry, who's offered $14.5 million with $1 million in cash. So like way more cash, but none of the money is going to the nuns who pooled their money and bought the convent themselves back in 1972. So the archdiocese says the nuns had no right to sell the property. They order them to evict Dana Hollister and to pay millions of dollars in legal fees. And then the convent goes to Katy Perry without the nuns seeing a penny after like literally this is their home, which is ridiculous. So it goes to court, and you know, this nun who's called Sister Catherine Rose Holtzman, she's 89 years old. Her dying words in court before she collapses and dies are, "Katy Perry, please stop." Literally, what is her problem? Like, why is she trying to steal a convent? And apparently she was doing this a lot, like going around and doing elder abuse and like buying land out from under. Like, this is the plot of the movie. What is that movie with Rosamund Pike? I Care a Lot. This is like half the plot of I Care a Lot, except Katy Perry is not Rosamund Pike, and she's not a hot lesbian, even though she might be. And Sister Catherine Rose Holtzman also said a reason that she didn't want to sell to Katy was, quote, "Katy Perry represents everything we don't believe in. It would be a sin to sell to her. Period. Tell her." August 19, Katy Perry is accused of sexual misconduct by two different people. First by model Josh Kloss. I don't think he has any relation to Carly, who says that she exposed her genitals to an ice skating rink while filming the Teenage Dream music video. And then by Russian TV host Tina Kandelaki, who said Katy had made inappropriate sexual advances toward her at a private party. Once again, this girl is gay. Katy denied both incidents and said, "I think we live in a world where anyone can say anything. I don't want to say guilty until proven innocent, but there's no checks and balances. A headline just flies, right? And there's no investigation of what it is." Katy Perry quoting every man after the Me Too movement. Okay. In November 2022, Katy Perry is slammed on social media after posting a photo of herself voting for Rick Caruso in the Los Angeles mayoral race. Rick Caruso, famously a billionaire, famously was a Republican and changed his party registration to run as a Democrat because he knew that Angelenos wouldn't vote for a Republican for mayor. A weird choice. Obviously, Karen Bass ended up being fucking terrible, and none of those choices were good, but Rick Caruso is worse? Question mark. We can't even know how that would have played out. Karen Bass is just evil. Like, she's like the John Fetterman of Los Angeles. In March 2023, we have another American Idol scandal. This young woman, 25-year-old Sarah Beth Liba, goes on and auditions on American Idol. There's like plenty of YouTube videos. You could watch this if you want. It's not that exciting. Everyone is commenting. She's like, I'm 25. And everyone's like, oh my gosh, you look like 16. And the girl's like, yeah, I'm also a mother of 3. And Katy Perry like dramatically gets up from her seat and then like rolls across Lionel Richie and like pretends to faint. And then the girl goes, if Katy Perry lays on the table, I'm going to freak out. And Katy Perry goes, girl, you've been laying on the table way too much. And it's just weird. Like, what are you talking about? Like 25-year-olds, I mean, not me, but like 25-year-olds are allowed to have 3 children. There's no laws against it. It's actually like people have 3 children by like 20. Like, it's not that bad. And then Katy Perry goes on to tell her that singing wasn't her dream and that she wouldn't go far. I feel like she's trying to be Simon Cowell. I don't really know why. Simon Cowell is like not exactly I guess he is sort of beloved in certain circles. He's not beloved by me. And she's just like is a mean girl. Like, it just feels like her whole life she's had this mean girl persona and she doesn't know who to be outside of it, which is really explained by her astrology. So we will get to this. And then of course in 2024 there's Woman's World, a disaster. Like, seems just, it's not obvious enough of a satire to be believable as a satire. She's working with Dr. Luke, who's like known misogynist and sexual abuser. The song isn't good. Like, there's just so many reasons why what she was trying to go for. I see the vision. I think we can all like see the vision, but the execution was horrible. And then she drops her album 143, a complete flop. I read a tweet that was so accurate. It was like, Katy Perry's 143 sounds like the music that you hear in the club at 3 a.m. when people are leaving, you're so tired, the lights are coming back on, and you realize that you like really need to go home. That it's exactly what it sounds like. I could not have described it better myself. Like, somehow she made the party's over music while trying to make club bangers. And yeah, no. Not good. This is what happens when you work with Dr. Luke. Like, come on, girl. And then we get to last Monday when Katy Perry goes to space in Jeff Bezos' rocket for who knows what reason. And they're like branding it as girl power. Their little saying, they like all get together in the rocket ship and they're like, take up space. And it's like, oh my God, this is literally like girl boss feminism circa 2014. Like, it's 11 years later. How are we still here? Like, no, you going in Jeff Bezos, the second richest man in America or whatever, who's destroying the whole entire world, his rocket is not like some act of feminism, even if you're women going in his rocket. Like, why do I need to explain this to people? I don't know how Aisha Bowe and Amanda Wynn feel. I'm very interested and hearing their thoughts on this whole thing, because those women are legit, and I don't know why they would go in Jeff Bezos's rocket either. Katy Perry comes home. She acts like a fucking lunatic. There's a picture of her literally kissing the ground. You were 65 miles above the face of the earth for like 10 minutes. Like, you weren't gone for a week. There are astronauts, are they still stuck up there, who have been stuck up on the space station for like months. And you're freaking out because you've been gone from Earth for like 3 hours. I don't know. Pop Crave tweets the picture. It was like, Katy Perry has returned from space. And Wendy's, the fast food chain, responds, can we send her back? Iconic. Kesha then posts a photo of herself drinking out of a Wendy's cup in support of Wendy's. Wendy's tweets some other things that are very funny. I couldn't find them online because they were forced to delete everything, I think. And then a source close to Katy Perry responds to Wendy's saying, this was $1 billion brand using its platform to publicly demean a woman. Wendy's didn't make a joke. They made a choice. Their recent posts were not only disrespectful, but blatantly inappropriate. Wendy's subsequently addresses the criticism of its social media commentary in a statement saying, "We always bring a little spice to our socials, but Wendy's has a ton of respect for Katy Perry and her out-of-this-world talent." And there was a blind item from NT Lawyer that Wendy's only stopped tweeting after Jeff Bezos himself, the man, the myth, the legend, called the CEO of Wendy's and told them to stop. And it's just like, if you don't want criticism, don't do bad things. Like, you actually can't have it both ways. You can't be the like second richest man in the world. Like, first of all, you're so fucking rich. You have billions and billions and billions of dollars. You're directly destroying the planet. You have terrible business practices for your employees. Like, you're one of the worst people in the whole entire world. You can't be evil in every single sense of the word and not take criticism. Like, if you want to be fucking evil, I mean, I don't like it, but I guess you technically are breaking like about 1 billion laws, but you own the people who make the laws. So like, do whatever you want, but you have to accept that people are going to say, like, talk shit about you. Like, there's just no in between. Like, you really can't have it both ways, Jeff Bezos. So like, please take off your Karen hat and like stop calling the manager and just be like, haha, yeah, say whatever you want about me. I could buy you, because you could. But don't, like, what? It's just like, oh my God. We have grown ass men destroying this country with like the self-esteem and the ego of like a 12-year-old experiencing puberty for the first time. It's horrific. I can't believe that we live here. Why is Katy Perry such an asshole? First, I'm going to talk about her actual life, and then I will talk about her birth chart. So, Katy Perry's actual life. Katherine Hudson was born on October 25th, 1984 in Santa Barbara, California. Her parents were both Pentecostal pastors. Perry is her mom's maiden name. She is a middle child. She has an older sibling and a younger sibling, one sister, one brother. I don't remember which is which. And their family struggled financially and were often on food stamps or eating only food provided by their church. So she did have a difficult childhood financially. And from ages 3 to 11, her family traveled cross country quite a bit because they were setting up different churches. So she was bounced around a lot of places. And then when she was 11, they finally settled back in Santa Barbara. She went to a lot of different religious schools and camps in her life. She had a very, very religious upbringing. Her parents were the kind of religious where they were insane. They weren't allowed to eat Lucky Charms as a kid because the word luck reminded her mom of the word Lucifer, normal. And they weren't, like, when they ate deviled eggs, they had to call them angeled eggs. This is like the people who did like the analysis of the monster logo, like being demonic. And it's like, no. No, that's just a graphic designer. Like, it's not the devil. I'm so sorry to break it to you. So Katy primarily listened to gospel music while she was growing up, and she had to smuggle home CDs of popular music from friends. The one that was specifically called out was You Ought to Know by Alanis Morissette. And so she gets into the idea that she really likes to sing. So she starts training as a singer when she's 9 years old, mostly through her church. She gets a guitar as a birthday present. She finally gets her GED when she's 15, and then she leaves their high school to pursue a music career. First as Katy Hudson, and then as Katy Perry, and then the rest is history. So basically, she never learned how to be a normal person. Like, that's her main problem. She has a bajillion problems because she's queer, obviously, and has so much like repressed religious trauma about sexuality and about being a woman. And she just never learned how to deal with those things in a normal way, which sucks, you know, but also she goes to therapy. Like, do some EMDR and process this shit like the rest of us, instead of doing all of that stuff, instead of making nuns. Like, how did your Pentecostal pastor parents feel about a nun's dying words being, Katy Perry, please stop? Like, I don't think that they would take it very well, personally. But then we look at her birth chart and everything starts to make sense. Katy Perry has not one, not two, but count them, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 Scorpio placements. Wow, that is so terrifying. Let's see here. She's a Scorpio Sun, Moon, Rising, Mercury, Saturn, Pluto, lot of fortune, and South Node. Scorpio, all Scorpio big 3 is fucking terrifying. I hope that I never see Katy Perry in the street because I would run away screaming so fast. Like, that is terrifying. And naturally, because Scorpio is her rising sign, she has all of these fucking planets. She has Saturn in her first house. Like, that sounds horrible. Saturn's been in my first house for the past, 2.5 years, and it's not been fun, let me tell you. I can't imagine having that my whole entire life. But we can break it all down. Scorpio rising. I feel like the general pop psychology of it is Scorpio bad. And that's not true. I mean, nothing is all 100% inherently bad in astrology. Everyone has Scorpio somewhere in their chart. Even if you don't have any placements in Scorpio, Scorpio occupies a 12th of your chart, a house in your chart. People who are Scorpio risings, it just happens to be their first house. It happens to be the house of themselves. They happen to be Scorpio. Scorpio is a sign that has a lot of darkness to it, which is why people are Scorpio is so scary. But darkness also is light. Everything's in balance. There can't be light without dark. There can't be rebirth without death. It's a sign of transformation. It's a sign of deep journeys. It's a sign of really getting into your psyche. It's a sign of mystery. And people who have Scorpio placements can be great detectives. They really are good at getting down at the nitty-gritty details of things and what lies beneath the surface. They're not surface level people. So everyone has Scorpio in them. People who have Scorpio rising just wear it on their sleeve. And other people with Scorpio rising, Justin Bieber, who we covered last episode, Lana Del Rey has a Scorpio rising, Martha Stewart. But I find that anytime a woman is a little mysterious, people are oh, she must be a Scorpio rising. People are Taylor Swift is a Scorpio rising. That's not what that looks like. Taylor Swift is one of the most obvious Capricorn risings I've ever seen in my life. After I read Julia Fox's memoir, I was looking at her birth chart, and we don't have a confirmed birth time, but people were she's definitely a Scorpio rising. I'm 90% sure that Julia Fox is a Libra rising, and I'm 199% sure that she's not a Scorpio rising. So, but she's a woman who's a little different, and she's a little mysterious, and people are Scorpio rising. And it's just no. If Julia Fox is a Libra rising, then Scorpio is her second house. She still has it occupying a whole quadrant of her birth chart. It's just not the main one. You can be a Scorpio rising and be a absolutely wonderful, beautiful, sweet, healed person. I just simply don't think that Katy Perry has done the work to look at her shadow side and face it and be okay with it and face her ego and release her ego from the things that she does. I don't think that she's been able to get there yet. But she's had a lot of challenges with all of this. People see Scorpio risings as people who are powerful, secretive, and determined, and they have intense magnetism and charisma. These people see their lives as just a series of events that made them change who they are completely. They've seen themselves undergo drastic transformations and deep paths of change. Over time, they grow to accept this change. They grow to understand the beauty of change. Parable of the sower, God is change. That's a Scorpio rising. The healed, the advanced Scorpio rising is going to emanate a power and magnetism and just a sense of calm. That is a result of them understanding that they're able to take any situation that comes their way, and they will always take the pain of change and becoming something new over the misery of comfort and stagnation and staying the same just because, change seems scary. In an ideal world, they would attract a Taurus-like partner. Taurus is the opposite sign of Scorpio on the wheel. Someone who is grounded, someone who, likes a little bit of luxury and can show them that eating good food and practicing yoga and gardening and like taking baths is like a way to soothe and ground them and prevent them from going on, like a million underworld journeys every day of their lives. They have a tendency towards like extremism and obsession, and a Taurian or like another earth or grounded partner can help them be like, hey, no, why don't we just eat some food on the couch? That's very Taurus. At their best, and I want this for Katy Perry so bad. I want it for her. These people can be such a positive force for change in the world. They understand the process of change. They understand the process of turning darkness into light. They can be really powerful healers. They can help people go on their own journeys because they've been on so many journeys themselves and they know the process. And Katy, I just want you to get there. I just want you to be that person. I don't want you to go through this like nightmare hell capitalism anymore. Like, I just want you to help people. People who have Scorpio rising are ruled by Mars, and Katy Perry does not have a lot of great placed planets in her chart, but her Mars is actually really well placed. It's in Capricorn, where Mars is exalted. So her Mars is really strong, which means that, your chart ruler really influences everything in your life. So like, she should have the drive and the aggression and other Martian things. Like, she should have that really easily. She should really easily be able to go after what she wants and get them. I fear that what she wants is to be a mean girl. And so she's really good at doing that. And she's really good at Martian things like being aggressive, but she doesn't have like sweet Venusian energy. Like, she has a really, really badly placed moon. She just has a lot of things that don't work out for her really well in her birth chart. And the one thing that does seem to be super well placed is Mars. And like, having a Mars dominant chart is not always a great thing to have. There's a reason that we have traditionally 7, but now I guess like 10 different planets in our charts. And it's because like, you need a balance. Having one planet that dominates your whole chart is just a recipe for like disaster. And having it be Mars is like a recipe for you to be Thanos. Katy is a Scorpio sun. The journey of the Scorpio sun is not for the faint of heart. It requires full commitment to embracing chaos and confusion. And like I mentioned, you go through a journey of exploring your deepest psyche and mastering the process of change and transformation. An unbalanced Scorpio sun has the danger of falling into fear and repression and being unable to regulate the chaos and confusion within themselves. These people can fall into obsession, OCD behaviors, attempting to control your environment, both externally and internally. They can become jealous and possessive, even wanting to destroy their partners if they don't feel like they can fully own them. And eventually, the unbalanced Scorpio is going to explode or implode, and they're going to reveal to the world like the big mess disaster of huge, big, undealt with emotions that lie within themselves that they've been trying to hide from the world pretty unsuccessfully. Neurotic Scorpios can be moody and sulky and potentially like abusive. These people have a big problem with projection. They don't like things about themselves, but they refuse to see those traits within themselves, so they project them onto other people, and then they attack other people. And I think this is part of Katy Perry's like mean girl thing. It's like there's things about herself, specifically like her sexuality, but lots of other things that she really doesn't like. Probably a lot of like being a woman, she probably has a lot of internalized misogyny from growing up in a super evangelical household, but she projects these qualities onto other women, and that's why she attacks them. And so it comes off like so negatively, and then she's confused because these are actually things within herself. She just refuses to work on them. So they have to be projected on other people. And the key to the Scorpio sun's journey is to realize that they hold tremendous power. They just need to look within themselves. And the thing about Katy Perry's sun is that it's exactly conjunct her Pluto in Scorpio. The sun is a very strong planet, and Pluto is like the strongest, like the most powerful and tremendously strong and destructive planet. Pluto is called like the Great Destroyer. And so having these two, like the sun is obviously the ultimate lightness. It's our ego, it's our self. It gives us the light that we here on earth need to live. And Pluto is like the ultimate darkness. Like having these two come together is not for the faint of heart. And I do fear that Katy Perry is the faint of heart, and that these things, or like she's not the faint of heart, obviously. She has had this in her birth chart for 41 almost years, and she's alive. She's famous. Like she's really rich and famous, and she's married to Legolas. But clearly she's not doing super well. So it's a battle that she's been fighting, and she continues to fight. For people who have Sun-Pluto conjunctions, they're like people who take pains to hide themselves. Similar to Justin Bieber has a Pluto rising conjunction that I covered in the last episode. Like they go out into this world ready to hide. They're scared of other people. The world is a scary place, and they think that the world is out to get them. So they have like a really strong sense of like defensiveness that they have to wear as armor all the time. They're super powerful, but they're often afraid, like overwhelmed by their own power. And these people have intense self-awareness, but they seem to have a really hard time like stepping outside of themselves and viewing themselves objectively. Like they have self-awareness, but clouded by their ego. And they have a feeling that because they are so self-aware and they know all of their own like secrets and darknesses and all of their deepest, darkest thoughts, they believe that everyone else must be able to see and know those secrets and thoughts too, which is not true. And so they have like a deep sense of paranoia going into the world that everyone knows everything about them and they're out to get them. And I can definitely see how this has caused Katy to do the things that she has done because, she feels a need to be defensive. She goes out on the defensive. She sees every news story about her as an attack, and she needs to defend herself. And it's like, no, you don't. Like, first of all, most news stories are not attacks. They're just like people want gossip. You can make up gossip like most other celebrities do so that you could live your own life in private, first of all. But second of all, like, oh my gosh, you kissed Miley Cyrus on the Bangers tour. Haha, you don't have to like slut shame her. You know, it's just like people just want to talk about that. You didn't have to add context. You could have been like, yeah, I kissed her. But she has to because she has a deep paranoia and she has repressed, internalized homophobia. I'm like a little bit worried that she's going to like sue me for defamation for this podcast. However, I don't think I'm popular enough for her to see this. And Katy Perry, if you do see this, I don't hate you. I just want you to learn how to harness your astrology chart because you have a lot of power and you could be using it for good. And all I want is for you to use it for good. Please don't sue me. I am poor. I just got laid off. Thank you so much. So Katy Perry, born in darkness on a new moon in Scorpio. The moon in Scorpio is in fall. The moon is exalted in the sign of Taurus. And if you'll remember, where any planet is exalted is like a throne. And the opposite of that is like jail. So the moon is on the throne in Taurus and it's in jail in Scorpio. It's like the worst moon placement. But everything in astrology obviously has negatives and positives. There's no like worst thing. At best, people with Scorpio moons are passionate and wise, but at worst, they are obsessive and destructive. This is all very similar. Moon, sun, rising, it's just different parts of you. Like your sun is your journey. It's like your destiny. Your sun is your ego. It's the heart of who you are. The moon is like the things that you naturally and intrinsically feel. You don't have to go on a journey to get to them. They just exist within you. And your rising is how other people view you. So it is actually sort of nice that she has like stability, like continuity in all of these things. All of my big three placements are squared and opposed to each other. So it must be a little bit easier to like, you know, through and through, I'm just a Scorpio. Like I don't need to pretend to be something I'm not. I never feel conflicted in who I am. I am just a Scorpio. Katy Perry, all you've got to do is be Scorpio. That is literally it. That is literally just your job. Just be Scorpio. The moon is like our intuition. And so Scorpio is already such like a sensitive sign. These people are like borderline psychic, if not all the way. They have just like so much sensitivity and intuition, and they understand emotions, and they, once again, like Scorpio moons specifically, can be such powerful healers and shamans and guides and therapists. Unfortunately, the shadow side is that these people can be really emotionally manipulative, because if you can pick up on everyone's emotions and you know a lot about emotions yourself, you're able to use people's emotions to manipulate them. These people can also have wonderful careers as like midwives or doulas, like guiding pregnant women through the transformative process of labor and delivery. And they can also just like get a lot of reward and like happiness and contentment from helping people who are facing poverty, from helping people who are in prison, from helping people who are like facing death, like on death row. Like working with people in really dark periods of their lives can be really transformative and helpful for these people, and they're really good at it. And Katy Perry has her moon in the first house. She has everything in the first house, but people who have the moon in the first house like really wear their emotions on their sleeve. You can always see how they're feeling. It's like impossible for them to hide that. These people are feelers rather than thinkers, and they often act on their mood rather than like rational thought. Mercury in Scorpio is like pretty similar. Mercury is mostly about like communication. And so these people are very deep and passionate thinkers, and they notice a lot of details, and they can really get below the surface on, you know, investigations and studies. They just have to be aware of becoming manipulative. Scorpio, in how you talk, can have that manipulative shadow side. Resentful and stubborn. Scorpio is a fixed sign, very similar to Taurus, Aquarius, and Leo. And so they can have a really hard time changing their mind, and a harder time letting their mind be changed. But if these people orient their scorpionic minds toward worthy pursuits, no one's going to get in their way. Like, they can accomplish anything. And if they're doing good things, then that will be a positive force for the world. Katy Perry not only has her Mercury in her first house, but it's also conjunct her ascendant. And these things have very similar significations. The conjunction with the ascendant is just like more intense. But if your Mercury is conjunct your ascendant, by definition, it's in your first house. And this is a significator of someone who's really chatty, really intelligent, has a quick wit. They have a strong need to talk specifically about themselves. Like, these people make great writers and philosophers and intellectuals in general, but they are specifically drawn to like autobiographical writing. Being a songwriter seems to be right up this alley, but I get the sense that Katy is not, because she hasn't been able to face her own ego and shadow side yet. Like, she has a hard time writing about herself from an honest place because she won't admit a lot of the different parts of herself. And if she came face to face with that, like, I think we could have Katy Perry, the great songwriter. And until then, we don't. So clock is ticking, girl. We need good new music. This placement plus her Sun-Pluto like paranoia that everyone already knows her secrets must cause some like really deep like cognitive dissonance, fear, obsession. Like, she's talked openly before about battling anxiety and depression and like ideation, and I get it. Like, I completely understand. And she has said that she's seeing a therapist, and she has been seeing a therapist for a long time. I just think she might need a new one. I had the same therapist for 3 years, and then I got a new one, and I was like, oh my God, my old therapist was doing absolutely nothing for me. Love him to death, but you should switch therapists like every couple of years. Saturn in Scorpio is quite a difficult position. These people are very powerful. This is like the theme. Obviously, it's all Scorpio. They are powerful, but can they harness it? It's like the plot to like half of the fantasy books that have ever existed. They have the potential to be controlling, manipulative if their intentions are not pure. You don't say. They try to hide. They have this like deep Saturnian scorpionic interior, and they try to hide it from other people by being like friendly and bright and bubbly on the surface, which is something that we definitely see with Katy Perry. And they very rarely reveal the mess that's going on beneath the surface. They are calculating and they're determined, and they can be successful in anything that they set their minds to, but they are often the center of scandals and gossip. The good news for this placement is that Saturn gets better over time. And so as Katy Perry progresses, she's already had her first Saturn return like a little over 10 years ago. But as she progresses, she'll have her next Saturn return in like 16 years. Her Saturn in the first house, it's like really a part of who she is. It's really intrinsic. Like hopefully she develops herself and she does the work. Saturn makes you do the work. Saturn says, hey, here's a problem. Are you going to face it head on, or are you going to run away and hide from it? Because if you run away and hide from it, I'm going to keep giving you the same problem until you face it head on. And then we can move on to the next problem that I'm going to give you. So if she's willing to do the work and face those problems head on, then her Saturn in Scorpio, super powerful, in her first house, super personal, is going to give her rewards down the line. It's just a question of, is she willing to do that? Having Saturn in the first house is a really difficult placement. Saturn is in fall in Aries. It's exalted in Libra in fall in Aries. And the first house is the natural house of Aries. So it's just a house that Saturn doesn't like to be in. And where your Saturn is in your birth chart is where you struggle. And struggling with yourself, it's like the fundamental like thing that you need to build. It's the foundation that you need to build everything else in your life on top of. It's the first house. Like this comes first. You can only get second house money, third house communication and neighbors, seventh house one-on-one relationships, 10th house reputation and career. You can only get that stuff once you have a solid foundation for the first house. And having Saturn here just like throws that whole thing off. It's like, by the way, your biggest challenge in your life is going to be developing your own self-image. Good luck. But these people basically have a hard time asserting themselves in a healthy way. And it can express itself in one of two ways. Like they can either really be on the attack, like really be aggressive to other people, and not meaning to, but they just don't know how to assert themselves in a healthy way. Or they can like shy away from everything. They can never stand up for themselves. They believe even if they do stand up for themselves and ask for what they want, they believe that they don't deserve a reply. They don't deserve those things. And so they have a chip on their shoulder their whole lives of feeling like they never have and they never will get what they want. But it's just because they don't ask for it and because they don't believe that they deserve it. In general, these people find it hard to fully participate in life. I mean, Katy Perry went to space. That seems like fully participating in life to me. But life is more than just what you're able to do outside of yourself. Like so much of life is what you're able to do inside of yourself. I fully believe that, you know, the expression, all the answers lie within. Like I fully believe that that's true. I fully believe that within yourself, you have all of the knowledge that you'll ever need. You just need to find a way to connect with your subconscious. And I feel like she spent her whole life running away from her subconscious. And then Katy also has Pluto in her first house of Scorpio. And so this is a passionate, powerful person with a powerful presence, but also a difficult placement that indicates not having an easy childhood, which is obviously true for Katy. And it's basically the same thing, not the same thing, but very similar to being a Scorpio rising, which she is. So like double woof. All of these Scorpio placements, before I move on to the other incredibly difficult placements in her birth chart, just like, I think that Katy Perry should continue to be called out for her harmful behavior. I think that when she does things like go to space on a capitalist, billionaire, overlord, oligarch freaks rocket, she should be called out for it. I think that when she sexually assaults American Idol competitors, who she has a huge power differential over, I think that she should be called out for it. I think when she culturally appropriates Asian women during her performances, I think that she should be called out for it. I think that when she slut shames other women, she should be called out for it. I think that when she commits elder fraud, she should be called out for it. I feel like if she does these things and no one calls her out for them, she will feel like she's done nothing wrong. However, I know that if she does these things and people call her out for it, it completely ruins her life. And she is way harder on herself than we could ever be because whatever is going on inside her mind is a disaster. So stay on her neck and hope that one day she will be able to harness her power of Scorpio. And I would love to see that day. Genuinely, I'm rooting for her. Okay, moving on. We talked a lot in the last episode, my episode about Justin Bieber, Selena Gomez, Hailey Baldwin Bieber, and Benny Blanco, about anaretic placements or placements at 29 degrees of a birth chart, because those people have a lot of those. And Katy Perry happens to have her Neptune at 29 degrees of Sagittarius. Having any planet at 29 degrees means that in this lifetime, you're here to master those lessons. It's like 0 degrees is coming in fresh, like you're here to learn those lessons, but 29 degrees, it's a karmic placement. It's like you've been here before and this is your chance to actually finally master this subject. And a signature of this placement is that you take things to the extreme in either direction. So for Neptune specifically, the planet of illusions and dreams and deception, you either have a problem with escaping the real world too much and getting lost in your delusions, or rejecting imagination and fantasy altogether. I do think that Katy Perry is in the former camp. I do think that she is more of like an escapism, delusional sort of person. And so her challenge in this lifetime is to strike a really good balance of escaping into daydreams, and like being a little delusional is like sort of necessary, especially to succeed and like be famous. Like you need to believe that you can do that. But she also needs to be able to see the real world. She needs to be able to look at the news and look at the articles about herself and see that not as like an attack on her, or like everyone is ganged up against me because they just don't like me, and be like, no, people are calling me out because I have done bad things. If I stop doing bad things, people will stop calling me out. Like, she needs to be able to face the reality of the world that she lives in and of the harm that she has caused to her own reputation. And these lessons will specifically be related to where Neptune is in the person's birth chart. And so her Neptune is in her second house of Sagittarius. The second house deals with money. And so I feel that she might deal with some financial struggles. I know she's like having a really hard time selling concert tickets right now. So I don't know. I feel like she has a lot of money. Like, I don't know what it's going to take to like put her in a bad financial position. Maybe it's the tariffs, but at some point she's going to struggle with money. And or Sagittarius is travel, like long distance travel and philosophy and spirituality and religion specifically. She's obviously had a lot of problems with religion and her religious upbringing in her life. She's not religious now, I think. I think she said that she prays, but she's not religious. So that could also be a problem. I don't know. We'll see. And this placement is sextile her Sun-Pluto conjunction. And so sextile is a supportive aspect, but supportive doesn't necessarily mean good. I think that this like anaretic, super delusional escapism Neptune placement supports the paranoia that comes with her Sun-Pluto conjunction, that everyone around her knows all of her secrets and is out to get her. And so she lets herself delusion herself into believing that. And then it's just like a self-perpetuating cycle. I don't think that this is a good thing for her. She has her Jupiter in Capricorn, which is also Jupiter in fall. Jupiter is exalted in the sign of Cancer. The opposite sign of Cancer is Capricorn, where Jupiter is in fall, aka in jail. But more simply, Jupiter is a planet of expansion. Capricorn is ruled by Saturn. Saturn is a planet of boundaries. Jupiter can't do its thing in Capricorn because Jupiter wants to expand and Capricorn is walls. Like, there's only so far it can expand. And a hallmark of having Jupiter in Capricorn is that, like, Capricorn, despite putting up boundaries, Capricorn is very powerful. Like, Saturn works very hard. So these people do have the potential to be very powerful themselves. They just need to be aware of putting up too many boundaries and becoming conservative and becoming rigid. And I feel like Katy Perry really toes the line of becoming conservative all the time, like the way she rubs elbows with Rick Caruso and Jeff Bezos and all of these other like super Republican oligarchs while claiming to be like a progressive woman. It's like, you need to understand what progressive means. I think someone needs to teach her about intersectionality. Like, I think she needs just like a basic lesson in like the different waves of feminism and intersectionality. But having Jupiter in the third house is someone who's like really naturally optimistic. Their words can have a very positive effect on other people, and they're really good at like smoothing out problems. So she holds the key. Like, she creates all of her own problems, but she holds the key to smooth them over. She just needs to learn how to harness and use it. There's two last things that I want to talk about. The first is that her Chiron is in her 8th house of Gemini, which is so interesting. Like, even when you get placements outside of Scorpio, they're like, Chiron is in the 8th house, the natural house of Scorpio. It still has all the significations, almost all the significations of Scorpio. And Chiron is the wounded healer. So it's like her wound is around 8th house Scorpio stuff. Like, she just can't get away from it. This is one of the most difficult Chiron placements, of course. And it really says, greetings, loved one. Let's take a journey to the deepest wound you can possibly imagine. Like, this is the deepest wound placement for Chiron. These people often get to a point in their lives where they encounter losses that really shake their world to its core. If this is related to those losses around second house Sagittarius with her Neptune, probably, I would guess that they would coincide with each other. But that's the moment when these people really are like, okay, it's time to heal this wound and then start moving forward and up. These people have learned to repress their emotions from a very young age, and they experience their emotions really, really deeply. They have super high highs and super low lows. And it's like, is Katy Perry actually the world's most intense person? Just having Chiron in the 8th house is like really intense. And she has all of her placements are like this. She has like 8 Scorpio plus 8th house Chiron. That's like 9 placements of like, this is the placement of the most intense person in the world. Like, it must be really, really horrible living inside her head. I don't want to see it. I don't even want to peek. I know things are bad in there. I don't need to see it to believe it. And this indicates a rejection or a fear of sexuality. Period. And the last thing I want to talk about is that her North Node is in her 7th house. So the North Node is opposite the South Node. The South Node is what you are naturally inclined to do. It's what you did in your past life. It's really easy for you. So having the South Node in the 1st house means it's really easy to focus on yourself. I find that having the North Node in the 7th house is a signature of people who have narcissistic tendencies. It's just something that I've seen a lot in people that I know to be narcissists. And it makes sense. Like, your default state, your most comfortable way of existing is spending all of your time thinking about yourself and how things affect you. And your goal in this life, like your whole destiny in this lifetime, is to think about how things affect others and to think about how you exist in relationship with others and to be a good partner to other people. So that's her goal. That's her destiny. And she will keep falling back to this South Node, 1st house, over and over and over again, especially because everything is there. Her sun, her moon, her rising, her Saturn, her Mercury, her Pluto, her lot of fortune. She will always be drawn towards thinking about herself. And she needs to learn in this lifetime how to move away from that, how to get to the other side, how to spend time in her 7th house, relationship with others, doing Taurus things, hanging out on the couch and eating a lot of food. It doesn't sound like that difficult, but being in a relationship with others can be really difficult, especially when you have these placements. But overall, that's what I have to say about Katy Perry. I don't hate her. I really want her to get better. I really want her to be able to look at her shadow side. I think that it's amazing that she has achieved all of this fame while being so tortured inside. I wonder if she's related to like the mass coming out movement or if she will ever come out. I hope this for her so much. She like really obviously is attracted to women. Like, it's so, she wrote the song I Kissed a Girl and I liked it. And yet she's like so scared of being attracted to women because of her own internalized homophobia. Katy Perry is far from the only person who struggles with this. Like, this is a huge part of society. I used to have internalized homophobia before I accepted that I was a lesbian. She just needs to do it at some point. And the hell that exists within her head, like all of this torment, it doesn't have to be like this. Like, first of all, no one else knows your secrets unless you like tell them to us. Like, we can't read your thoughts. And also do inner work, like take a break. She has a daughter. Like, take a break from fame, take a break from the spotlight, focus on your family, focus on yourself, sign up for EMDR therapy, do something for yourself to like face your own shadow so you stop projecting it onto other people. And that is all I have to say about Katy Perry. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any requests for people's charts that you would like to see analyzed, questions that you would like to have answered, etc., please let me know. I am thinking about doing next week's episode on Jay Shetty. I listened to the Celebrity Memoir Book Club episode about his book, Think Like a Monk. And wow, that man's insane. I can't wait to dive into it. So if you're a Jay Shetty hater like me, make sure you tune in next week. My email is popstrology@proton.me. You can find me on Instagram @popstrologypod. And I will talk to you soon. Love you so much. Bye.